because it's continued to be marketed that way. You have to understand that there's a box that is called the standard of care, and I don't subscribe to the fact that physicians are trying to harm you. In fact, I have the deepest respect for people that are licensed to practice medicine because I'm not one of them, and they go through a schooling to learn to practice within something called the standard of care. If you're outside of the standard of care, your malpractice is at risk, your reimbursement is at risk, your career is at risk. So you may very well be doing something that is in your scope of practice, but it is outside the standard of care. So most physicians will migrate back into the standard of care. So even if you go around to a bunch of allopathic doctors and get multiple opinions, they'll all be within this box. When you jump outside of that box, you got to be talking to somebody who's willing to say, okay, you probably have to pay me cash. You probably have you put my malpractice at risk. I don't have malpractice coverage for this type of treatment. Not because they're breaking the law, but because they're not within the standard of care. It's just like when physicians started to prescribe ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine for COVID when it wasn't the standard of care, even though there were millions and millions and millions of scripts written for these pharmaceuticals that were proven to be extraordinarily safe. I mean, our doctor used to have to write it for joint pain during COVID, so she wouldn't potentially risk her license. So what happens is you develop a herd mentality because the system for reimbursement, how they get paid, the system for coverage, how they get malpractice coverage, and the system for their career is all dependent on things being inside of a certain box. And the standard of care for someone with elevated LDL cholesterol is to put them on a statin. If you don't do that, you could be risking your license. And why is that the standard of care? Because pharma dictates that that's the standard of care.